that's a big question. Everybody wants to know about crime in Baton Rouge and where we at the end of 2024. So it was a very busy year. So for example, just some stats I like to share that show how busy our officers have been and the great work they're doing. In 2024, our officers answered over 200,000 calls for service, 17,000 traffic crashes. They made over about 7,700 total arrests, 3,800 of those being felony arrests. Recovered 1,000 stolen vehicles and seized over 1,200 guns. So all of that being said, we are actually down in both violent crime and property crime about 8.5% in both categories. We are up in homicides. We had 3 more homicides in 2024 than we did in 2023, which is a 5% increase. But our overall crime, both violent crime, we were down 8.5%, and property crime, we were down 8.5%. One big number that always gets thrown is they look at like the parish-wide numbers, or they'll look at the coroner's website for homicides, which is not really strict homicides. They put a lot of things that aren't really considered homicides. One person killing another by justified means, things like that. But yeah, the parish-wide numbers are real high. They've gone up higher. But when we're looking at the Baton Rouge city limits, is which the Baton Rouge Police Department is responsible for, those numbers were lower this year. I had the privilege of working in the training academy before becoming chief, and part of my duties at the training academy, I was out being able to give classes with the community and being a part of the community a lot. But one of the big things I learned was just how interested the community is in helping the police department. A lot of people are real noisy online or real vocal, social media, things like that, but the vast majority of the community loves the police and they want more of us. And so that's been very encouraging in all the meetings I've gone to, just the outpouring support that the vast majority of the community has for the Baton Rouge Police Department and its officers. Great question. Some of the big challenges would be looking at our budget, right? We're looking at having a budget decrease right now of $9 million. A lot of that, over 90% of our budget is salaries. So when we're looking at having to save $9 million, we're going to have to make a lot of tough decisions, a lot of which is going to impact how much your regular officer makes. So if things stay the same as they projected to, hopefully I've had a lot of conversations with the new administration on talking about trying to do some supplemental budget changes. But if things stay the same right now, your average officer is going to make less money in 2025 than they did in 2024 because of the budget decreases that we're going to have to put in place. There's a lot of that we're doing. Some of our programs that we were able to do in 2024, some of the services we were able to provide by sending officers to work under the police department's budget to work some of these special events and parades, and you see a lot of officers out there. We're going to have to ask these community groups to step up and help pay for some of those officers to be out there, but just because of the budget decrease that we're looking at. We have a lot of great things going for us here at the Baton Rouge Police Department. But unfortunately, people don't really look at the employment opportunities and things that much. Hey, what is the starting pay? And our starting pay is a lot lower than other departments around us. So that's one big thing that I've been talking with the new administration about, with the new mayor about. We need to get higher pay for our officers. With this budget decrease, that's going to hurt morale and some of the services we can provide and some of the overtime opportunity for the officers, and even just officers being able to get paid and make extra money, be able to work their holidays. These are all tough things, but I have great confidence in the men and women of the department. So the work is always ongoing. I have a lot of goals that I'm still working on, but a lot of victories that I'm proud of. One of the big things is we added almost 200 license plate readers and video cameras in partnerships with the Page Rice Initiative and then our homeowner associations, and then just some businesses getting involved with our community Connect Blue, where people can sign up for all of their outward-facing cameras, residential or business. They can give us access to or just let us know that these cameras exist. So if we know that we're working a vehicle burglary in this neighborhood, we can easily look at a map and say, well, hey, all of these people have signed up and they said they have cameras that they're willing to give us access to, or we can then send an email and say, look at your camera and let us know if your camera picked up something involving these specific group of suspects. So a lot of things that I'm proud of the community work, the formation of the Youth Advisory Council, formation of my own internal advisory council made up of employees, civilians, dispatchers, fingerprint techs, and of course officers from just regular officers all the way up to captain that I'm able to meet with regularly. So a lot of things that we have working and going on. Looking forward to releasing, coming up on my 1-year anniversary here next week, and I'm looking forward to releasing a lot of those wins and then the goals for this year for everybody to view. We need the public's help. You know, I've got off some statistics about how many arrests we made, how many guns we seized, how many people we're putting away. What we need is, we can't arrest our way out of all the issues, so we need the community organizations to help us, to step up where they can. For example, in 2023, we arrested 9 juveniles for homicide. That's 9 kids, 17 and younger. In 2024, the law was changed where juvenile is 16 and younger, and we are still arrested 16 juveniles for homicides. That's not shooting at somebody, that's not attempting to kill them, but actually killing someone. 16 kids, 16 and younger. Somewhere along the way, there were structures in place that failed these kids, whether it's the home environment, whether it's the schools, whether it's the churches, community organizations. We need to reach these kids where they don't go down this path. By the time they commit the murder and we have to be involved, it's too late. So we need the community to kind of help and step up and say enough is enough, that we have to be there for the young people and then the older people. We need situations like what happened with Dylan being killed, the 8-year-old on Swan, and we have the suspect and we have a press conference and say, this is the person we're looking for. And then come find out he's being hid by his girlfriend, his girlfriend's family for over a month. They know he's done this crime and they're hiding him from the police. It's time to say, hey, if you have people in your household that have guns, if you have people in your household that are out there running in the streets, it's time to say enough is enough, and we need everyone across the community to help us with that. Yeah, so we're still, all of those cases remain open, and they haven't been pushed aside, cold case status, or nobody's still looking, and we are still actively looking at both of those cases specifically, as well as a lot of our other unsolved cases. We're giving them our utmost attention. Everything we know about that shooting as of right now and who we were able to arrest leads in the vast majority of the vast number of rounds that were fired at that scene, points to this was a group. These are a group of individuals that belong to one of our violent gangs, violent groups inside the city. They were intentionally trying to shoot someone they believed was inside that car. That person that they wanted to kill was not inside that car. This family was inside that car. They didn't take the time to stop and check. They didn't take the time. They wanted to just drive by, stop for a second, unload their guns, and drive off. And unfortunately, this family was in the wrong place at the wrong time for this violent gang, this violent group. A lot of people kind of ask me, Chief, why don't you say gang? Why do you call these people groups? A lot of it is just semantics, right? A lot of it has to do with FBI classifications. A lot of it has to do with us dealing with the district attorney's office and what we can classify people. I don't think it really matters what we call them. You know, this year, we started last year and we're going to continue this year on putting pressure on these groups and when applicable, charging them with gang activity crimes. There's a specific state statute that we have used last year. We brought one of the first grand jury indictments that we've ever had in the state or in this parish with the assistance from Hiller Moore. My Special Investigations Division, which I formed earlier this year, helped bring that indictment for a specific group to charge them with gang activity. And we're going to continue putting the pressure on those groups this year. We're seeing that being more easily to get. You can print these things on a 3D printer or order them off of Amazon, where we're having juveniles break into cars, steal guns, and then give them to older people, and the older people are putting switches on there, and so then we were able to put an extended mag in a Glock and shoot that 30-round 9mm magazine in a second or two. No telling where those bullets are going to go, and just all of a sudden just spraying everywhere. So that is a trend that we're definitely paying attention to. We have officers that are assigned to work with the ATF task force, and we're putting a lot of pressure on the people that we find with those machine gun conversion devices. Yeah, so that's a big problem that we have. One of the issues right now is the Fed's not picking up enough. It looks like we're going to have a new federal prosecutor in our area in the next couple of months, and that's a conversation I'm going to be having with them. Statistic from it was either 2022 or 2023 is the last data I was able to look at. So Middle District, Louisiana is where we sit for East Baton Rouge Parish. You got the Eastern District is New Orleans, Western District, Lafayette, Lake Charles. We're in the Middle District. For the Middle District of Louisiana, the only people that had less federal cases than us we're like fifth lowest. The only people that had less were like Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, Delaware, Rhode Island. We gotta have our federal partners do their part and help us out. I'll go to these national conventions and I'm hearing what they're doing across the country, and a lot of it is the federal courts and the federal prosecutors saying, "Hey, give us that case. We'll prosecute them federally. We'll go after them for carjacking. We'll go after them for shooting. We'll go after them for having these machine gun conversion devices instead of just the state charges." And we know it's true when we're talking to the people we arrest. They're worried about whether the feds are going to pick up that case because of the more stringent sentencing that are in the federal courts. His message to me has been the same what it was like all over the campaign trail. He prioritizes public safety. He prioritizes policing. He wants to see the city get cleaner and safer. So that's been his message to me. I look forward to working with him and his administration. We've had some great conversations. Curious to see what he can do to help us, with our budget and show the prioritizing of law enforcement. I think yes, of course, the mayor is my boss. And so just like in any work you do, if you get a new manager or a new boss, some things are going to change. It's not going to change who I am and what I believe in and what I believe how the department should be ran. But of course, some things are going to definitely change because at the end of the day, the mayor is my boss and we're going to kind of go align with his vision. Yeah, a lot. He came and spoke to the academy on the first day and you could see his coach side coming out. He was definitely very engaged. He said he wants to be back. He seems to be like he wants to be hands-on. And like I said, every conversation I've had with him is very positive and very encouraging that he wants to see Baton Rouge get safer, and he wants to do that by prioritizing public safety. That came up, and I told him that we had already started that process back middle of last year. We already started those conversations with the retirement boards and with the new law that was passed in the state legislature. So with city finance about creating those positions. So we have already gotten that ball rolling, and we're really, really close to being able to bring back some of our retirees, hire them at part-time to kind of supplement our manpower. We have a lot of ways for the community to be able to get involved and kind of get a peek behind the curtain of the Baton Rouge Police Department. One great way we have coming up is our Citizens Academy. One class, one night a week for about 8 weeks. You get to dive into what it means, what kind of training officers get to see some of our specialized divisions, get to tour some of our buildings. It's a great way to kind of get a peek behind the curtain. We also have equalizer training, which is our women's self-defense. Get to work hands-on with our defensive tactics instructors. It's 4 classes for women only to learn better protect yourselves. I really just wanted to highlight the great work the men and women in the Baton Rouge Police Department. The Baton Rouge Police Department is one of the best departments in the entire country. I know because I've been around the country from my time in SWAT and training academy. We really do have one of the best departments. My main goal is to let other people see it, increase our branding, show people, through our outreach and social media, through our officers just making that contact and letting people see, hey, you might see some negative things, and that's what a lot of people focus on negative things, but we're doing a lot of great things at the Baton Rouge Police Department, bringing other people into the community. We hosted 2 major events this past year, the United States Police Canine Association, where we had about 100 officers and their police dogs come to compete. We had another with the motorcycle competition at Cabela's that was a week long. So we're doing all these great things with our community interactions and being out there and solving these cases. a lot of times it gets overshadowed. We have babies, officers delivering babies on the side of the road and saving people from jumping off the bridge. We made the largest fentanyl seizure, one of the largest in the country, the largest in the state earlier this year with that special investigation division that we newly formed. So we're doing a lot of amazing things that unfortunately get overshadowed. And I can't thank the men and women of the Baton Rouge Police Department enough for what they're doing. They're working harder with less. They're answering more calls with less people, investigating more cases with less people, but they're stepping up to the plate. We were talking about the mayor earlier. One of the things the mayor told the new class was, this is the best time in the past 40 or 50 years, I believe he said, to be a Baton Rouge police officer. He's standing on that. He's saying, hey, public safety in the Baton Rouge Police Department is my priority. We have another class we're going to be starting. We just started one here in January. We're in the process right now of hiring for our next one, which will start, it's slated to start in July. So great things are coming for the Baton Rouge Police Department. We are open for business. We want people to come work for us. If you want to come be a police officer, this is where you want to work. If you live anywhere in the area, the Baton Rouge Police Department is where you want to work. You will receive some of the best training in the entire country. And like the mayor said, now is the time, if you want to be a police officer, it's time to work for the Baton Rouge Police Department. But we also have a lot of other jobs available, from our dispatchers to crime analysts and statisticians to fingerprints and CIU workers. A lot of opportunities for employment.